and welcome to my AVAnnotate tutorial. So AVAnnotate is a research creation tool for adding annotations to audio and audiovisual content. If your research engages with audio or video content in any way, and would benefit from attaching annotations to that AV content, then AVAnnotate is a useful and easy-to-use tool that you can use with your research. So for a basic demonstration of how AVAnnotate works, we're going to go over to av-annotate.org and click on Get Started. This takes you to a great 6-step quick start guide. We're going to briefly cover all 6 steps in this tutorial, and if you create your own AVAnnotate project, this quick start guide is a great reference for getting started. You can also go up here and visit how to use and then documentation for more detailed information if you want to create a more complex project. So to get started, we are going to click over here and log into AVAnnotate using our GitHub account. If you don't have a GitHub account, you can go back here, go to GitHub, and create an account. You don't need to know much about GitHub or have used it in the past in order to use AVAnnotate, so don't worry about that. You just need to have a GitHub account. You can learn more about it later, but you really can completely start from scratch with AVAnnotate if you need to. So once you have a GitHub account, you're going to go to the AVAnnotate application and sign in with GitHub. I've signed in the past here, so it should just automatically log me in, but if it's the first time you're doing it, it will probably ask for your password. And when it brings you to this page here, you can see that I have a whole bunch of projects that I've worked on in the past, but if you're just getting started, this will be empty. But either way, to get started, you go up here and you click on Add to create a new project. This will ask you some information about your project, like your title, description, language, the URL slug, so the bit that gets added to the URL for this project, and also adding any collaborators. So if other people are working on this project with you and have GitHub accounts as well, you can add them here and they will have access to your project. So now that we've created our project, we're going to create an event. And events are the main building blocks of AVAnnotate. As they describe it on the AVAnnotate website, an event can be single or multiple AV files with single or multiple sets of annotations, which is pretty broad, but it basically means each part of your project is an event. So AVAnnotate can create or ingest a IIIF manifest for each event. That means you can basically create events using URLs to audiovisual content, or you can use a IIIF manifest, which we'll briefly cover in this tutorial. If you do have content on your computer, like some audio or video you've recorded, you will need to host it somewhere online. Probably the easiest way to do this is to put it on YouTube, but you can host it in different places depending on what it is. It can be Internet Archive, or like I'm going to show here, Aviary, which is the University of Alberta's repository for AV content, although that's not something you can upload yourself. But if there's something on Aviary that you'd like to engage with for your research, this is a great place to find content. So we're going to use that today. So when we're creating a new event, you go over here, you click on Add, and you will input information about your event. So if you were completely starting from scratch here, you could add things like the event label, the URL, the duration. We're going to use the IIIF manifest. So if you go over to Aviary and you find some audio or video here that you want to engage with for your project, in this case, we're going to take this historical radio interview with Matt Cohen. We're going to click on it here, and you can see that it says IIIF manifest. This will come up in a lot of different places online. You'll see with audiovisual content. And if it has that, all you need to do is click on the IIIF manifest. It will bring up this complicated looking page, but all you need is the URL at the top. You'll grab that URL, come back over to AVAnnotate, and put it here. Analyze it there. You can add a description if you want, and then click over here. And now you will have your first event. It may not import correctly. Sometimes there are glitches. As you can see here, it didn't import the title correctly. So you can click on these 3 dots and open it up to make some changes. So we'll change the title. We'll make sure that it has the right file type and any other changes we want to make. And you'll see that it brought in existing annotations. So on Aviary, there are transcripts and indexes for some content. And if you use the IIIF manifest, that will come in as well. So you already have existing content that you can use, modify, engage with as part of your project. So we'll save that. And the other thing that's really interesting about AVAnnotate is you can add tags to your content. So we're going to go over here, click here on the tags, and you can use these to sort of organize the content. So we could have one tag that is Matt Cohen. We could have one tag that is music. Maybe there's parts of the audio that are music. We can have one tag that is analysis, one tag that is translation, if you were doing something with translation. Whatever it is you want to organize in your projects. We'll create some tags there. You can also do different categories of tags. So you could have different people who speak. You could have different types of analysis as different tags. You can really organize this however it makes sense to you. Then we want to think about annotations. So if you go back over here, because we took this from a place that had existing annotations, we already have some annotations. We could go in and modify them or add new ones. If you had some audiovisual content that had no existing annotations, you can create them from scratch. This is also where you can be using spreadsheets. You can also do that to import lots of audiovisual content at once. I'm not going to cover spreadsheets in this video, but they are very useful if you're doing a larger project. So I would recommend looking at the documentation on the AVAnnotate website if you're interested in doing a larger project and utilizing spreadsheets. But here we're just going to add some annotations here. So if we want to create a new set of annotations, we go over here. And we add whatever it is that we're wanting to annotate. This can be very broad. It's whatever it is that you're wanting to engage with this content. Are you wanting to add context? Are you wanting to add transcripts? Are you wanting to add translations? Are you wanting to add additional information and citations linking to books or other resources? Whatever it is that you're interested in, that's what you're adding as annotations. So we'll do a few examples here. And when you add an annotation, you can also add tags that you created earlier. So in this one, we'll add Matt Cohen and we'll add analysis. We'll say this is an analysis of something that happened. And you can go through and you can add a lot of these. And this is the bulk of what an AVAnnotate project is. You're creating events, you're adding annotations to those events, and you're adding tags to those annotations to really engage with the audiovisual content. So now that you've created this, you can add as many as you need for your project. You come over to this tab, and this is where you're kind of designing the website, the surrounding, what is holding up all of this analysis. You can add new pages. You could have entire essays about this content. You can have pages where you bring in multiple of our events and things. We'll just do a very simple page here. Let's say it's an introduction for people. So once you have your pages and your events, you can actually create your website. So this is pretty simple. You just go over here, click on this, and it's going to start publishing your website. This will take a little while. There is a way that you can sort of check up on this. This is the only time you really need to go over to the GitHub side of things. You don't have to do this step, but it does help to see if there's any issues with your website. So if you go over here and here, you can check up on GitHub essentially generating your site. So you can see this, it's loading, and once this dot turns green, your website is ready to go. If it turns red, you can click on it and it will give you information about what went wrong. This might be complicated, you might not understand this, but it gives you somewhere to sort of see what went wrong. There are forums for AVAnnotate users. You can show them your logs, show them what happened. So this is a useful place to be able to go to at least start to figure out what went wrong. But hopefully it turns green and your website is fine. You don't have to worry about it. So assuming it does, you come back over here and now you can view your site. So if you click here, and now you can see the site you made. It will show you your pages. It will show you the events you've created. Depending on how comfortable you are, you can do a lot more with sort of changing around your pages, what links to what it shows on the page. But at a very basic level, you're creating these events. And when you go to them, it shows you the annotation and the content and the tags. And when you click on different annotations, it will bring you to that part of the audio or visual content. So that's the basics of what AVAnnotate does. If you have any questions about how to use it, I would really recommend checking out the AVAnnotate website. They also have amazing examples of how people have used these projects. It can be used to add annotations to video that you've created. It can be used to add annotations to things you found online that you want to analyze, that you want to highlight, that you want to do a close listening of, that you want to engage with. It could even be a sort of poetic work that your annotations add poetically to the other content. It's very broad, and there's some great examples on the website as well. So I would say go make a GitHub account if you don't have one, open up AVAnnotate and just try to make something, play around with adding annotations to a video or to audio in any way, seeing how it works and seeing if there's anything interesting you can do by engaging with this way of sort of adding clickable annotations to your content. I think it's pretty interesting and I would love to see what other people create with this.